Greetings, friends. We are trying to understand what are external commercial borrowing as far as the course material of CS professional program is concerned, as given in foreign funding instruments and institution, lesson 9 of module 3, paper 7. In the last video lecture, we understood the broad concept of external commercial borrowing. We understood what is euro equity and euro debt. Euro equity, as we discussed, are the shares that are denominated in dollar terms and issued by non-American and non-European companies, which are listed in American and European stock exchange by complying with the regulation of those stock exchanges. It has a form of ADR and GDR, and then euro debts are external commercial borrowing, FCCB and FCEBs. These are raised from international capital market as a debt fund. Then we understood what is euro issues. There are types of euro issues, mainly American depository receipts and global depository receipts. Then we understood the concept of external commercial borrowing, which is basically the commercial loans issued by eligible resident entities of India, and lenders are recognized non-resident entities. Then we saw what is track 1, track 2 and track 3 framework of raising loans through ECB. Today we'll be understanding the framework which is required to be complied with for raising loans through external commercial borrowing. It has two options. As we know that ECB can be raised in the terms of dollar or the external foreign currency. So foreign currency denominated ECBs and then INR denominated ECBs. These are the two options available for an Indian company so that it can issue ECB. As the name suggests, currency of borrowing is freely convertible foreign currency, and the other one is Indian rupees. Foreign currency denominated ECBs can be raised in the form of loan, which are basically could be bank loan. Then we have floating fixed rate notes, bonds, debenture, except fully and compulsory convertible debentures. Then the requirement is that the issue and the trade should have a credit beyond 3 years. It can have FCEBs when it comes to foreign currency denominated ECBs. And when we see what are the forms available for INR, the highlighted portion, that is loans including bank loans, floating fixed rates, notes, bond, debenture other than fully convertible, and trade credit beyond 3 years. These are all forms in which INR denominated ECB can also be raised. Apart from this, financial lease is also there in both the cases. Also, in case of INR, plain vanilla rupee denominated bonds are issued overseas, which can either be placed privately or listed in a stock exchange as per the host country regulation. So these are the two options available for an entity to raise ECB. Now, who are the eligible borrowers? As we understood from the definition that there are eligible entities which can raise external commercial borrowings. Those could be all entities eligible to receive FDIs. Then these are the entities in addition to the other eligible entities which are entitled to receive FDI. which can also raise ECB. One is Port Trust, the other one is units in SEZ, SEDB, Exim Bank. Then registered entities engaged in microfinance activities with registered not-for-profit companies, registered societies, trust, cooperative and non-government organization permitted only to raise INR in ECBs. Then, as per the requirement of ECBs, who are the recognized lender who can lend their money to the Indian company when they raise ECB in the international market? The lender should be belonging to FATF, Financial Action Task Force, or International Organization of Securities Commission compliant country, including on transfer of ECBs. That means even if one want to transfer the ECB, the lender should belong to the countries who are compliant to FATF and IOCL, IOSCO requirement, compliant country. Then multilateral and regional financial institution where India is member country will also be considered as recognized lender. In addition to the countries compliant to FATF and IOSCO, a multilateral and regional financial institution where India is a member country will also be considered as recognized lenders. Then individual as lender can only be permitted if they are foreign equity holders or for subscription of bonds, debentures listed abroad. And the third one is foreign branches, subsidiary of Indian banks, are permitted as recognized lender only for foreign currency denominated ECBs, except for FCCBs and FCEBs. So it clarifies that foreign branches, subsidiary of Indian bank, subject to the applicable prudential norms, can participate as arranger, underwriter, market maker, trader for rupee denominated bonds issued overseas. However, underwriting by foreign branches and subsidiary of Indian banks for issuance of Indian bank will not be allowed. Then, as we saw that there are three tracks, one is medium, the other one is long range. So medium range, as we see, could have a minimum average maturity period of 3 to 5 years, and long range could have a maturity period of 10 years. Here the minimum average maturity period will be 3 years for all the track ECBs. However, manufacturing sector companies may raise ECB with minimum average maturity period of 1 year for external commercial borrowing up to $50 million or its equivalent per financial year. So in one financial year, they can raise amount up to $50 million. In that case, it could have a minimum average maturity period of 1 year. Further, if ECB is raised from foreign equity holder and utilized for working capital purpose, general corporate purpose or repayment of rupee loans, minimum average maturity period will be 5 years. The call and put option, if any, shall not be exercisable prior to completion of minimum average maturity period. So these options are not available in case of ECB. There is all-in cost ceiling for ECB and it is benchmark rate plus 450 basis point. Spread is allowed and benchmark could be the Indian government securities of corresponding maturity in case of track 3 and 6-month average annual LIBOR rate for track 1 and track 2. Prepayment charges, penal interest, if any, for default or breach of covenants should not be more than 2% over and above the contracted rate of interest on the outstanding principal amount and will be outside the all-in cost ceiling. So this needs to be understood that in case of any prepayment charges, it will be beyond the all-in costs ceiling limit prescribed under the regulation and the schemes. There are negative lists in which the ECBs and the money funded cannot be used. These negative lists ECB proceed cannot be utilized would include real estate activities, investment in capital market, equity investment, working capital purpose except for foreign equity holder, then general corporate purpose, repayment of rupee loan. These three put together basically for cases other than the foreign equity holder ECB on lending to entities for above activities. So the ECB proceed cannot be utilized for these purposes. And as far as real estate activity is concerned, it involves that the ECB proceed cannot be utilized for purchase of land except when used for affordable housing as defined in harmonized list of infrastructure subsector notified by Government of India. Construction and development of SEZ and industrial park or integrated township. So these are the some exceptions available to utilize ECB proceed. Then ECB's currency can be changed, but it means that the currency of ECB from one freely convertible foreign currency to any another freely convertible foreign currency as well as to INR is freely permitted. These changes could be made anytime within the terms of the regulation and the scheme of Government of India. Then change in currency from INR to any freely convertible foreign currency is not permitted. If ECB is raised in INR, then it cannot change to any other foreign freely convertible currency. This is the limit as far as change of currency of ECBs are concerned. Then there have been explicit limit and leverages as far as ECBs are concerned, and under the aforesaid framework, the eligible borrower can raise ECB up to USD 750 million or equivalent per financial year under auto rule. This is the maximum limit prescribed under the regulation and framework. Further, in case of foreign currency denominated ECB raised from direct foreign equity holder, ECB liability equity ratio ECB is raised under the automatic route cannot exceed 7:1. So this ECB liability vis-a-vis equity ratio is to be maintained by the entity raising ECB. However, this ratio will not be applicable if outstanding amount of all ECBs including proposed one is up to USD 5 million or equivalent. So for a lesser amount, this ECB liability to equity ratio is not applicable. Further, the borrowing entity will also be governed by the guidelines on debt equity ratio, if any, by the sectoral or prudential regulator concerned. If any extra requirement is there, then the borrower is to maintain that sectoral debt equity ratio. ECBs are ECB's issuance of guarantee by Indian banks and financial institutions. So all issuance of ECBs, any type of guarantee, issuance of any type of guarantee by Indian bank, all India financial institution and NBFCs relating to ECB is not permitted. Further, financial intermediaries with Indian bank, all India financial institution or NBFCs shall not invest in FCCBs, FCEBs in any manner whatsoever. So issuance of guarantee is not permitted, and financial intermediary cannot invest in FCCBs and FCEBs. How the money raised through ECB is to be parked. There are two ways by which the ECB proceeds are permitted to be parked up. First one is it is allowed to be parked abroad, and the second one is it is permitted to park domestically. Parking of ECB proceed abroad. It is only for foreign currency expenditure where there is a requirement of raising ECB was to meant for the foreign currency expenditure. It can be parked abroad pending utilization. Now these ECBs, there are limitation how it needs to be parked. That is till utilization. These funds can be invested in the following liquid assets: deposit or certificate of deposit or other products offered by banks rated not less than A minus by Standard and Poor or Fitch IBCA, or AA3 by Moody's. Treasury bills and other monetary instrument of 1 year maturity having minimum rate of AA minus and AA3 by Moody. Deposits with foreign branches, subsidiary of Indian Bank, are also allowed. Parking of ECB proceed domestically. When ECB is raised for rupees expenditure, it should be repatriated immediately for credit to their rupee account with AD category 1 bank in India. ECB borrowers are also allowed to park ECB proceed in term deposit of AD category 1 bank in India for a maximum period of 12 months cumulatively. These term deposits should be kept in unencumbered position. No encumbrance should be made as far as these parking of proceeds are concerned. Then what is the procedure of raising issue? Now, as we know that external commercial borrowing could be raised through automatic route or through approval route. Automatic route if conforms to the parameter prescribed under the framework, and if approval is required, then the process is that one application in form ECB is prepared by borrower and submitted to RBI through AD category 1 bank of the borrower, and this application form is prepared in this application form is then sent to empowered committee for consideration. So this empowered committee is considered keeping in view the overall guidelines, macroeconomic situation and merit of the specific proposal. ECB's proposal received in Reserve Bank above certain threshold limit refixed from time to time would be placed before this empowered committee, and it will recommend to RBI, which in turn finally will decide its approval, and decision will be taking into consideration the recommendation of empowered committee. As in case of the automatic route, again the process is same. However, this AD category bank has to be given application in form ECB by borrower, and it should be duly filled and certified, a copy of which shall be sent to the RBI for information. So this is the manner in which procedure is given for raising of issue in ECB. With this, friend, we come to the conclusion of this second video lecture of ECB. Thank you very much.